There was a bill before Colorado legislature called the Film Incentive Bill that was killed, which is why a lot doesn't get shot in Colorado. Basically rewards productions for shooting here, using local crew, and giving them tax breaks for spending their money here. So, yeah, the legislature didn't see value in that, so everybody goes everywhere else. Personally, I like Colorado. I'm sure California's great. I like Colorado. So, yeah, so that's a sacrifice I got to make, knowing that at this point in time, I'm probably not going to be making a living in film production. But by the same token, that's been giving me the time to work on my own projects. So it's a trade-off I was willing to make.
I live in LA, and I'm hoping to make a living doing this. There are so many incentives elsewhere, and production is running rapidly away from Los Angeles, which is unfortunate for everyone who's made the move there. But I feel like all of the, not to sound greedy or anything, but all the money seems to be in LA. I mean, a lot of movies that shoot elsewhere start somehow in Los Angeles. So that's where all the meetings occur, and that's why I've stuck it out in Los Angeles and will continue to stick it out, even though there's great incentives in New Mexico and Florida and now Detroit and everywhere else. Hopefully California will get their stuff together and help us out somehow, more than what they've done so far.
On our team, our co-producers both live in Jackson, Wyoming, which is where I live and where the film was based. Bonnie Krebs, who's the director co-producer, lives in Jackson but produces films primarily in Canada. And Charlie Craighead, who also lives in Jackson, primarily produces environmental films. And so, as you can well tell, the location that we sit in there's quite a bit of activity. In fact, they both would have been here today with us, except that they're premiering a film in Jackson about the Jackson Conservation Alliance. So, you know, it sounds like it's maybe depending upon the kinds of films. I will say, I'm sorry to hear that Colorado's legislature did not pass that bill. Wyoming not only passed the bill a couple of years ago, but last year reduced the amount of budgets to entice even more filmmakers to come. I think the original premise was a $500,000 budget to bring a film. They would provide the incentives and the additional assistance. And I think last year they changed that bit of legislation to a $100,000 budget. So come to Wyoming.
There's definitely two ways of doing things, and of course the classic way is go to Los Angeles, because honestly, I mean, it's the truth. That's where everyone is, and 90% of our business is networking. So you want to meet the people, well, you got to go to LA. But that's not to say you can't make films elsewhere, and that's not to say that those films can't find an audience and find the eyes of people who are in LA. And being that I'm from the South, and the South has, you know, traditionally had a certain reputation, and I used to hate the fact that I was from Alabama, but I grew up and realized that I'm from Alabama, and so I think it's important that I stick it out in the South and continue to make films from the South, and maybe one day bring a better image to where I'm from.
I'm based out of Denver. I live in Denver, and I kind of just graduated college and everything. So I mean, I haven't really made the decision on whether or not I want to move out to LA or anything. I think I'd rather stick here because it's kind of cool with technology and everything now. It's a lot easier to make high quality stuff. Just even out of your own home. I mean, if you have a computer and you have Final Cut and Final Cut Studio, I mean, you can do, depending on like what you're filming, you can't make like Star Wars out of your house, but like depending on like what your films are, like you keep them kind of simple and doable and just good, then yeah, you can make really high quality stuff.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the kind of movies that you want to make. where you're able to make them. An advantage of being in LA or being in the Southern California area in general is just that there's so many people out there that are looking to make films. And so when you want to go make a film, you can easily go find 50 other people who really want to make a film. And now you have a crew of 50 people, all that have some level of training. And so now you have a crew of 50 that all kind of know what they're doing. And so the film you're going to make with a crew of 50 people who know what they're doing, who are all willing to work for free because they all know that that's kind of what it takes to get into the industry, there are huge advantages to that. Last year, or rather the year before last, I shot a television pilot in Dallas, and we were trying to get people to work for free, and they thought that, you know, we were being arrogant LA people coming in and saying, well, just because, you know, we have a 323 area code, we expect them to work for free. And I said, no, everybody in LA works for free. You know, I worked for free for 2 years before I started, you know, making any kind of money working in the film industry. And I think a big difference is that people out there get that. So sometimes when you're in other places, it's difficult to find crew, it's difficult to find equipment. The acting talent is going to be different because a lot of the really good actors feel that they can only make it if they leave wherever they live. And so, you know, you go to your local theater to find some actors and they're like, oh yeah, we had a really good one, but they left, they went to LA. But people definitely make movies where they're from. I mean, Craig Brewer is probably one of the bigger names that people know he's from the South, he's from Memphis, and he makes his movies about the South. But he comes to LA to get the crew, and he gets the production, and he gets all of those things, and then he goes back there to film them. And, you know, the film incentive thing is really complicated just because most of the states that have done the film incentive, all their film incentive programs are dead. Louisiana's is dead. They owe a lot of films a lot of money because they offered them the incentive, and then they come in and they're supposed to get it as a tax rebate the following year, and a lot of films aren't getting paid. And so a lot of people are nervous, a lot of states rather, are nervous of what's the best way to set up a fund. And so I know that it sometimes just seems like the legislature is just trying to squash it because they don't want a lot of LA people around and things like that. But you really have to get involved as a community if you want those things to come, to find out, you know, maybe find places where it is working. Like New Mexico definitely has the best program in the country because of how theirs is set up. And, you know, the people in the legislature, you know, they maybe don't have time to go research New Mexico's because they don't care as much. And so when communities want stuff, you know, it really is kind of up to the individuals to kind of bring that to their attention. But that's the reason California hasn't done it. Is because California is looking at every state that's failed. And, you know, they have enough things failing that they don't need to create a new one that people can sit there and say, oh, you blew this too. And so I know that that's a direct reason that California hasn't done it in the last 5 years, because they've specifically been watching all these companies coming back from other states saying, I'll never go there again, because they totally screwed us. So that's also a big deal with that.